Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. I mean, seriously, it does not work. I was just sitting there chilling, getting ready to go to bed, and you cannot sleep on the Dallas Cowboys because stuff is always happening with the Dallas Cowboys, even in the off season. Now, I went on a rant live stream. I went off on some of these haters, and it's amazing because these haters, they want to come back and say, nobody hates Dak Prescott. We just don't believe in him. No, some of you, maybe you don't, buddy, but some of you guys won't give this guy the benefit of the doubt. And I'm just trying to figure out if there's actually a quarterback out there that, I'm going back into that rant. Let me stop because that's not what this is about. This is a fireside chat here. And thank you, Tiara. Tiara, I hope I pronounced it right. I'm a name butcher and I can't my dyslexia, I just butcher names. But she sent me an email that said, hey, Amari Cooper is on live right now on the fan. In which case I was like, oh, damn, I got to download the app. So I download the app, and then you got to log in with Facebook, and Facebook's becoming like, Social Security and everything else. So I logged in and got into it. So I missed the first half of the conversation, but got into it where listening to Amari Cooper, and I'm going to have to go back and go into, I guess, the radio vault as they have it and hear the whole thing. But listening to Amari Cooper, it sounds like the negotiations must be going pretty well because he sounded like he was going to be here. In fact, as they ended the show, they said, well, we look forward to you being here for years to come. So they were asking him questions about how he plays so great at home versus on the road. And he said, when you're on the road, it's a little bit different. He said, you don't get as many targets and things. And he said, of course, we got to work on it and so on. Really, you can't really necessarily explain why you play better at home on the road, but generally speaking, most teams play better at home than on the road. But I don't know. Was asked about Dez Bryant because they said, we hear that you and Dez play, Madden or, in contact from time to time. And, he's working out, they said at the Star, but it's not at the Star. It's close to the Star, working out and wanting to come back. And he's like, would you want him to come back? And he said, when I was in college, looking at Dez was probably one of the top 5 wide receivers and things, and that he's a beast. He said, and, when you have that ability, you don't just lose that ability and stuff. And things said, there's things you could learn from him as well. And of course, he's like, when you got players that are like that, then it would be great. He was talking also about first time he was in the playoffs and things and being, double teams. He said, when you're in the playoffs, it seems like coaches coach differently than they do or game plan differently than they do during the regular season. So he said, and here it is, you're getting double teamed and things like that, and you're not having the opportunities where he had wished there was others to take the pressure off of him. And looking at Michael Gallup, he said, generally speaking, most receivers, take off between their second and third year. And he said, you look at what Michael Gallup, has become in that second year, that he's leaps and bounds better than where he was. So you got to feel good about those situations. And he looked at it about, talking about Randall Cobb and Michael Gallup and himself as in like they're the 3 amigos. So the takeaway from this is, of course, that he says that he likes being a Dallas Cowboy, wants to be a Dallas Cowboy, and so on. Like I said, I missed the first part of it, but Tiara, thank you very much for letting me know that this thing was going on because I can't go without you guys. But you don't know how the contract negotiations are going, of course. But the fact that he says he wants to be here, to me, that's key because when he was in Oakland, you could tell by the body language that I'd rather be anywhere than where I was. And there's a difference when you feel like you're part of something else, where you're family, when you're at home. It's like my wife and my kids and things like that. If somebody's going to say something about them or come after them, I'm going to fight tooth and nails for my family or my people or my friends, When you're not really tied into it, and this is the thing that always bothers me with football today. It's great that players can get paid. Don't get it twisted. I'm happy because I know what players go through after football. A lot of them are screwed up. Their bodies aren't able to do normal things like pick up your kids, or to get out of bed, or I don't go into all that, but football, because of the way it's evolved, because of free agency, which is a great thing for the players, it's different than when I grew up. You knew Hollywood Henderson, and you knew Mr. Cowboy, Bob Lilly, and Ed Too Tall Jones, and Randy White, that those guys were drafted by the Cowboys and were always going to be Cowboys. And that camaraderie, that tie to the Dallas Cowboys, that they were truly their team. What you always hear now with players is they're independent contractors. Listen, I get a 1099. I'm not loyal to any team because I can get cut. I can get traded. I can become a free agent. And I can go to anywhere. Doesn't matter if you were a Cowboy player, Look, the Cowboys are looking to say, hey, if Amari Cooper don't make it, Byron Jones, we're happy to take them. The Redskins, they're forever trying to take Cowboy players. And that ends up being, you hear players say so much, I'm here to help this team. This team. Do you go and say, I'm married to this woman? No, you say, this is my wife. It's mine. We're married. And see, that's the difference. And most players don't look at this as a home or a family. They look at it as just a business. I'm going to get paid by whoever I can get paid from, and I don't care who it is. But Amari Cooper truly wants to be a Dallas Cowboy. In the same way, I have to give credit to Dez Bryant, because Dez Bryant has that same kind of loyalty and love for the team. And that's rare. And you see how this team has performed with them. There's the statistics of when Amari Cooper has been on the field versus when he's not. You look at the categories of everything, yards per play, yards that Zeke Elliott makes. All of these things are improved, not just his numbers, but the team in general with that guy. And to me, you need him to be that number one because people have to focus on him because he's so precise with his routes that it makes Michael Gallup better. I don't think Michael Gallup's ready to be a number one. It makes Randall Cobb more effective in the slot. It makes Zeke Elliott more effective because you have to worry about that guy. And that's what you have to understand about how an offense works. It's never just a great running back, because very rarely do you see just a great running back winning the Super Bowl. Very rarely do you see just a great quarterback without, other players around him. You see Aaron Rodgers, when was the last time he was in the Super Bowl? You see Drew Brees. They're great quarterbacks, but they need people around them as well. And it's about being balanced. That's why only 5 times in the history of the Super Bowl have you seen the NFL rushing champ win the Super Bowl. Because you can't have defenses focused on just one thing. It has to be collectively a nice running game, a passing attack. There's going to be times when you can't run the football. There's going to be times when you can't pass the football. And you have to be able to move to something else. And it's so prophetic listening to that tape of the West Coast offense when they described it as death by 1,000 paper cuts. I've said that before. I hadn't heard it from them before, but I've said that before. You want to be able to have not one Pro Bowler, one guy that's got a whole lot of numbers. You want everybody grouped around where it's even. So you're getting 60, 70 passes with this guy, 50, 60 on this one, 50 on this one. Your running back getting 60 or 70. So that way defenses don't know how to cue. They don't have one thing that they can cue on. So for me, I say you got to bring that kind of guy back. Without a doubt, you got to. So with that being said, it's about 11 o'clock, and I need to carry my behind to bed. Don't forget, tomorrow we got some special stuff going on. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have a special guest in the house. So let me turn off the lights, because this party's over. On another note, I must say that the shots in my knee, the 3 of them, definitely have lubed it up a little bit better. Doesn't feel quite as bad. That doesn't take me quite as long to get started on those first couple of steps. I'm Mark Holmes. I'll see you guys in the morning. Whew.